Yeah, Mr. Dailey. Mr. Dailey, can you say
what you're doing works?
Mr. Dailey, can you say that again? Because Gus, I wanted Gus to hear this. Hey, Jimmy. Yeah, come here a second too. I want you to hear this too. This is Mr. Dailey, the man I'm helping out in Canada with the birds. Go ahead, tell him what happened in Quebec.
Okay, last week in rural Quebec, a fellow that obtained some birds of prey had them without a license and got charged without not having birds without a license. And he said, fine, I'll pay what's the fine? And he told him the amount of the fine, and he said, fine, I'll pay that. And then when there was a break in the discussion with the judge, he said, I require and order the immediate restoration of my property. And he never said another word. Dead silence in the courthouse. The magistrate there, who is a Quebecer, so this is somebody who thinks in Napoleonic code.
Right, by jurisdictional.
Very clearly, and he told them that the Crown Prosecutor's Office returned the man's property immediately.
Wow.
So we're getting this all put it into English and then get the court record of it so we can send it to you.
Okay.
So you've got some written evidence that what you're doing, even with somebody who doesn't understand it fully.
Right.
But he was good enough to only say what he was told to say and not ramble. He just said, I require and order the immediate restoration of my property. The magistrate then, there was dead silence in this courthouse, I guess, and he turned to the Crown Prosecutor and he said, return the man's property forthwith. Immediately or something
like
great.
That.
Whatever it was in French.
That's what happened to the lady in New Brunswick. That's what happened to the lady in New Mexico. And I was just discussing it with Gus. Gus is from Quebec. He's standing right here. He's the man. He was say hey to him real quick.
Hey, Mr. Dailey, how are you?
Very good, thanks. Hello?
Hi. I'm from, you speak French?
No, I'm not a Quebecer. It just was somebody I knew did business with somebody in Quebec. And the Quebec body or the police services there charged him for keeping birds without a license. So he went in, he agreed, he found out where to pay his fine, said, yes, I'll pay it forthwith. And then when there was a lull in the case there, or the communications, he said, I require and order the immediate restoration of my property, period. And the fellow never said another word. This is all in French, of course, in the country. And the magistrate, the whole courthouse just went silent, dead.
Yeah.
The magistrate then turned to the Crown Prosecutor and said, return the man's property immediately.
Right, because that's what I was trying to tell Gus, and I don't know if Jimmy might benefit from this. But if you're holding say somebody leaves property, like, I don't know, one of your employees, or somebody leaves their stuff, their belongings, on your property, and they owe you rent or they owe you money, you can't hold their property. If you go to court, well, you can until you go to court. What's going to happen is the judge is going to say that. The kid is going to say, Mr. Dailey's got my property, but he wants me to, and then you're going to say, well, I want him to give me $3,000 he owes me first. The judge is going to say, no. You give him back his property immediately, then you file a claim for the payments. But no, if it's property, it has to go back to the proper owner immediately, no matter how much debt is due.
Well, I guess after this took place and they concluded, there's a big rampage going on out in the hall in this Quebec courthouse with everybody out in the hallway there sort of yelling at each other because the potential liability.
Oh yeah, it's stealing, it's theft. Oh yeah, that's what I said with the lady in New Brunswick, Canada. They said, the Crown Prosecutor said all 20 affidavits were removed from the court case file. All the police, all the social workers, everybody who worked for the Crown, everybody removed their name from the case because you just reported a theft, and they're all going to be held liable. So everybody removed their name from the case. They all pulled their affidavits out.
I'll get all these transcripts transcribed into English and send them to you, so you've got them just in your back pocket.
That's great.
For evidence that what you're saying actually works. Because that you couldn't have better evidence of that with somebody who didn't really know what they're doing.
Right, exactly. Well, like I said, that lady...
He didn't say more than he needed to.
That's right. That lady who bent tacos for a living in New Mexico, she spoke barely any English. I was only able to talk to her for maybe less than 10 minutes. I just said, can you say, I require restoration property? I require property? And she says, I say, I require property? Yes, I require restoration property. So we practiced a couple times. I said to her husband, who spoke perfect English, her boyfriend, I said, work with her. Just get her to say these 2-3 sentences and tell her to say nothing else. And that's the episode where it was only 43 minutes long, where the husband said she just said it a couple times in open court, and she was drunk, and she beat up cops. She still had criminal charges on her, and she still got her child back immediately. The judge said, you know the law, to the Attorney General, restore her property. And he said, the Attorney General said, but Your Honor, he says, and I restore it now. And the kid ran across the courtroom and came to the mom, a 3-year-old girl.
Well, it was the same effect here, but I'll get the transcripts in English for you.
Yeah, and French. And French.
And because it'd be helpful to you. So but you need some good news.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and get it in French. Get it in French as well too.
Okay, yeah, he's going to do it in French and pay to have it done in proper English.
Right.
So no one can say it's a bad translation.
Right. So what's funny too is now you see why your attorney's telling you to back off and try not to claim property.
Yeah.
You see how it's working? It's all going to be a landslide, man. It's going to get ridiculous. Everyone's going to get their property back. It's going to be